Guys, before the podcast starts, and trust me, this is a great episode, guess what? Uneeda Candles, we have a lot of great products for you guys ready for the Black Friday sale, because guess what? Yeah, Uneeda Candles is doing a Black Friday sale. Everything is 20% off. I don't know why we're doing this. I told the wife we're making no money by selling this stuff this cheap, but she insisted 20% off Black Friday sales. We've got a lot of great stuff that we're bringing back. Of course, we've got the Christmas Vacation wax melt. We're bringing back some of the directors. The Cronenberg, which was one of the most requested ones to bring back. Check this out. The Creature wax melt. You know we've got that. If you missed out on the Silent Night, Deadly Night, boom. We're going to have them. 20% off. The surprise seller. Ginger all the way. People love that. Of course, we've got our Gremlins. We've got some of the Screams. We're bringing back the Halloween wax melt, Rob Zombie's Halloween. But guess this. We're going to check this out, guys. So we got new ones that I'm really excited about, okay? I told Sydney, okay, fine. If we're doing this Black Friday thing, we're going to have some new ones because some of the hardcores have bought in all of these and we love you. But get ready because Planes, Trains, and Wax Melts is coming to the Uneeda store. 20% off. Oh, but guess what? My favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, what does it have to do with Thanksgiving? Nothing. Who cares? The Last Action wax melt that smells like popcorn and candy. This is just like Danny Madigan sitting in a movie theater getting ready to watch Jack Slater 4. It smells so good. We've got the fog. That's right. The fog is coming. You wanted it. You got it. Troll 2 is here. And also, for the people that missed out on the Friday the 13th, we're going to have them. We've got the new blood right here. We've got some part 5s. We've got a part 3. But guess what? You want candles too? Don't worry, because guess what? The final chapter candle is here. 20% off of these. Are you kidding me? Are you sure we can do this, City? I don't know. If you missed Silent Night, Deadly Night, we got those too. And we're also going to have one more new Nightmare candle. So guys, Black Friday, midnight Central Time. We're going to start the 20% off sale, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Christian, I'm going to be busy on Friday. Well, guess what Saturday is? It's Small Business Saturday. The sale will still be on, but make sure you wake up, go to your Vinegar Syndrome, get your movies, then come to Uneeda Candles and get 20% off of these, guys. The sales are insane, and be ready. This is going to, I'm excited about this because we got some great new ones. Now, get ready. UneedaCandles.com or the Etsy store. The links are in the description. Enjoy the podcast. Hey now. Hey now. How's everybody doing tonight, today, this morning? Whenever you listen to this, welcome back to 74.
Two dudes and some bullshit. I'm just kidding. It's not ours.
Yeah. Episode 74 of who knows what the fuck this is. At the time of recording this, I have no idea what the title of this is going to be. And probably just gonna talk about a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
I guess the people like that though.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. A lot of our most watched episodes, it seemed like, come from the bullshit format. So
we should specialize in the bullshit format.
Yeah, we should probably just keep doing this.
We need PhDs in bullshit.
I would say some would argue that we have PhDs in that, but
yeah. Well, where are we going tonight, Nick?
Well, I mean, it is almost Thanksgiving, so we're gonna have to touch on Thanksgiving. We're gonna have to talk about that. I would assume you'd probably put this out Wednesday because of Thanksgiving, unless you had other things planned on your channel. But regardless,
let's come out tomorrow.
All right, so we'll definitely touch on some Thanksgiving for you guys.
Sure.
Also, I don't know. I mean, there's, I was catching you and Brandon yesterday, and listening to some of the discourse. And there's always a lot to talk about in the horror world. I mean, come on, there's always a lot to bitch about. I got an announcement. This caught Christian by surprise, but he has to be a part of it. We're gonna my buddy Mike, Death Punch 70. He listens to the podcast, and he wants us to watch Black Christmas 2019, and he sent in a very many generous super chats tonight to make that happen. So with the caveat that he doesn't want us to be nice to it, which is good because I won't be. I can't be. The movie's terrible. And he wants alcohol to be involved. And I told him yes on both accounts. So I cannot wait to get drunk and trash that turd of a movie next month at some point. I'm actually excited for it. It'll be the last time I ever watched it in my life.
Don't say that.
No, it will be. I watched it one time. I hated it. I'm sure I'll hate it just as much, if not more so. But, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Have you only watched it one time?
I think once at least. I bought it. I bought it out of sheer curiosity. I was like, I didn't go to the theater to see it, but I was like, you know what? I've got to see this. I have to, just to see if it's really that bad. And yeah, it is. It's pretty bad. It's crazy because one of Sydney's favorite actors, isn't it?
Imogen Poots.
Yeah, the Princess Bride dude.
Oh no, Carrie Elways. Yeah,
Carrie Elways is in it,
Dr. Gordon.
Yeah, Dr. Gordon. It's just, it's so blatantly pathetic at what it's trying to do and say. It's just insulting. Absolutely insulting. And that movie is why I'll never just like Jason Blum was always going to have a stain to me because I can't believe he actually produced it and was in charge of getting that movie made and just being like, God, it's just pathetic. Nobody liked it. Nobody went to the theater to see it. And I think the director even went out on the internet and was just like, well, you're not my audience. You're not my audience. You're not my audience. I don't care what you think. I'm worried about what the 14-year-old girl thinks about this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it tanked critically and commercially, and it couldn't have happened to a worse film. I'm so
you couldn't have to a better film.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That's what I mean because it's just a fucking train wreck. Yeah. No, I mean, it is what it is. It's all in good fun. I mean, we watched Hobgoblins. It's like
Hobgoblins is better than Black Christmas 2019.
I would say so, simply just for the cars and the absolutely amazing puppet effects. I mean, but yeah, I mean, so that's cool. I mean, while we're kind of sort of in that realm, we mentioned Carrie Elways. Did you see that picture of our boy Tobin Bell on set of Saw 10?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Where'd you see that?
Behind the scenes photo on Twitter a few days ago. He's sitting on a park bench talking to a kid, and it's behind the scenes of Saw 10. Yeah.
No shit. So this is, I guess, timeline wise, it's hard to say since they all kind of are all over the place, but actually all of them are canon. What am I saying? I was going to say this is going back to the original canon, but technically Spiral's canon too, which just,
yeah.
Wow, man. If this is Saw 10, how is he alive?
From what this has not been confirmed by anybody, just by people, I think Variety reported it months ago, and then some scoopers have followed up with it, and it basically like that, this takes place between 2 and 3.
Okay.
So, which is honestly, I think a really good place to go because you see him at the end of 2, he gets his ass beat. But then you jump to 3 and he's on his deathbed. So it's like, what happened in all that time, man? Like, holy shit. So
yeah,
that's cool.
We saw a little bit of that though, right? Didn't we see a little bit of that with like
as the movies went on? Yeah.
Yeah. I always assumed, no, never mind. 6 wasn't that because when he was seeing the doctor, that was before he got into the heap of his tricks and trades from 2.
Yeah.
So, I would assume so anyway. Well, that'll be interesting. I'm always down for more Saw, man. I love Saw.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the same. Spiral wasn't the same. And I'm not a big fan of Jigsaw at all. It's my least favorite Saw movie. And I mean, he's in it, but he gets one scene. And it's just kind of like, so it's, I don't know. I feel like I mean, you need him. Like, you need him if you're going to do a Saw movie. I mean, I respect that Spiral wanted to do something completely different and try to maybe breathe new life into the series because Tobin Bell is getting older. So it's like, well, that way we don't need him for every movie. But at the same time, it's like, nah, you need him. You need him. Let's just call it like it is, because that Kermit the Frog sound and fucking voice and Spiral didn't do it for me. Just did not do it for me at all.
What, the pig? You like the pig?
I didn't like the voice. It sounded like Kermit the Frog.
It was it was different. I like the pig. The thing, Trick or Treat Studios making like a replica of that. It's like $100 though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that Spiral got the fairest shake because it was like wasn't that one of the tester movies in theaters post COVID? Like, it was fairly early.
Yep, they were trying to see if theaters were viable again yet, so they threw that one out into the fire, and they said, hey, if theaters are viable again, then you'll make some money, right? Because you're a Saw movie. And it's like, yes and no. I mean, it made $40 million worldwide. The budget was $20 million. So at the end of the day, they probably just broke even. They didn't lose any money. They didn't make any money.
Right.
But still, I mean, it just didn't capture. Like, yeah, the marketplace was obviously what it was, given where we were. But it was also just kind of like, I mean, like, it's not the same, though. Like, you're selling it as a Saw movie, but we know it's not a Saw movie. So it's, I'm
trying to remember. The interesting thing about Spiral, now that I think about it, is I'm trying to remember because a lot of the films is memorable traps, and I'm trying to really think. It's been a while since I saw Spiral, but I don't recall that having the most memorable traps. I guess the only thing that sticks out is that dude in the train tracks in the beginning.
Yeah, no, that's not the one I think of, though, man. I think of the finger trap.
Remind me what that is.
He's got like each finger is like restrained, and it's like he's sitting in that tub of water or whatever, and like he's gonna get electrocuted if he doesn't, like, I think he has to like let it pull his fingers off to release him before like the wire hits the water and electrocutes him in the tub that he's in. But he, like, obviously he's biting onto something to keep it from coming down and touching the water. I'm trying to remember exactly.
Damn.
But as his fingers are getting pulled off, he obviously is screaming, so he lets go of what he's biting onto, and it gets closer and closer, and he eventually just gets electrocuted. But I remember, because I was like, holy fuck, that would suck. Like, all your fingers. Like, the only way to survive that trap is to literally, like, just have 2 stumps, like, pretty much for the rest of your life. And, like, is it worth it? Yeah.
I guess I need to rewatch it then.
Yeah, but aside from that, no, you're not wrong. They I don't know. I'm just saying I
don't remember much. Like, I just really don't remember. I didn't remember that one having the most memorable kills from the series for sure. Which it probably should have to have gotten a better reception, quite frankly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
coulda, shoulda, woulda, but it didn't. And we got what we got. And again, like I said, I'll always give them props for trying something new, but new doesn't always mean good. And we've seen that plenty of times in this here genre that we like to talk about. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. But I don't know. I guess let's start this off and, like, I mean, don't be basic, because the basic answer. Everybody knows the basic answer. It's the quintessential thing. I'm gonna ask you, what's your favorite thing, like, food item for Thanksgiving? Like, favorite one, gotta have it. It's not Thanksgiving dinner without this.
Dude, I'm pretty basic, and I'm a picky eater if I'm being dead ass.
Same.
I love the macaroni and cheese my grandma makes, but I'm working this year, dude. I can't even eat Thanksgiving dinner. But it's the macaroni and it's baked macaroni and cheese, And I always get the turkey leg, which I'm gonna go to my parents' house after I get off work tomorrow, Thursday, and go get it. But save me one of the turkey legs, macaroni and cheese, and I just douse it in brown gravy. Douse it.
You
Put a
have
little
to.
salt and pepper.
Yeah.
I'm good to go. That's all I need, dude. And then I get pumpkin pie after that. Pumpkin pie is my dessert. I love that. That's me. I'm very basic. I don't touch that crap that you know that yam thing? It like when people pull it out of the
candied yams. Yeah.
Dude, you can
that.
see the ridges from the can.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't deal with any of that stuff, man. I'm very, very, very simple. What I miss is back in high school eating dinner, and then we'd all take all the Black Friday magazines and stuff from the newspapers. We'd flip through them to look for stuff. Now everybody's already gone to the stores and stuff now to do that. But I miss that, quite frankly. But no, that's all it is, dude. Baked macaroni. I need a big heap into that, turkey leg, and some gravy, and I'm set.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty basic too. Like, I eat the rolls, I eat corn, I eat mashed potatoes, I eat mac and cheese if my mom is, if I'm having it with my mom because she makes homemade mac and cheese that's really good. And then obviously the turkey, and I douse that son of a bitch in gravy and I go to and salt. Yeah, I don't give a shit. And I go to town. But I am someone that does like cranberry sauce. Surprisingly, I do like cranberry sauce. But I'll tell you one thing I don't like. Don't you come near me with stuffing, you nasty motherfuckers. And don't come near me with sweet potatoes either, because you're fucking disgusting. Like, and if you like it, more power to you. But
what do you do with cranberry sauce? Do you put it on something? You just eat it?
I just eat it. But you can mix it with other things. Like, a lot of people do that. A lot of people in this country, man, on Thanksgiving, when they get a plate of shit, they just mix all that shit together. It just becomes like Thanksgiving soup. Like,
I don't gag thinking about that.
I know I don't do that personally. I could not do that, but I know a lot of people do that, and it works for them. I mean,
Oh God. And we used to watch football. We still do watch football.
They're never good games, though. They never are. It's always a blowout.
Isn't it just the Lions getting their ass whipped every year?
Yeah, the Lions usually get their ass whipped every year, and the Cowboys usually get their ass whipped every year. Thanksgiving's a cool holiday, I guess. I mean, it's not on the level of like Halloween or Christmas or anything like that, because like it's literally just an excuse for us to like eat a bunch of food and then feel like absolute shit afterward. Because like you did not do Thanksgiving right if you're not like on your couch like
half dead.
Yeah, like I want to die. Like, why am I alive right now? So, I mean, it's cool, I guess. I'm sure it is some people's favorite holiday. I don't know. I mean, couldn't be mine, but shit.
It's the one time of year everybody watches Blood Rage, or the horror fans anyway watch Blood Rage.
Your Next is a movie that I usually watch around this time of year too. It's not a Thanksgiving movie, but it feels perfect for that time of year. So
there's got to be others too that I just can't think of. But dude,
Thanksgiving.
My dad loves that movie. He really does. Like, I unironically love Thanksgiving.
Man,
we watched that on Netflix when Netflix used to be the only game in town. So like, if you wanted your movie out there, you got it on Netflix, and we watched it. My dad loved it. Just loved it. Then we watched Thanksgiving 3, which I haven't found many people that have watched that. There is no 2. They skipped their own sequel. Thanksgiving 3 is the turkey trying to destroy every copy of Thanksgiving 2 on DVD. That's what the third one is. It's stupid. It's not stupid in the way the first one is. The first one, people make fun of it, but like it's fun to watch. The third one is just a little pretentious. But most people haven't seen that. Most people don't even know they made a third one. But yeah, there's a third Thanksgiving, which is technically the second one because they skipped their own sequel. So stick with the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so there's other. I mean, so obviously, to all you guys listening, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you eat a lot of good food and spend time with friends or family or whatever. Do your thing and do it right. A movie just came out on physical media, Christian. One a lot of people were talking about this year. Jeepers Creepers Reborn. You picked it up yet?
Did it come out for real?
Yeah.
No, dude, I haven't seen it. I want to get a Blu-ray of it.
Yeah, it just came out.
I'll grab it.
I was talking to Justin about it today, and he said, you know, and I'm just going to say it. And I'm like, don't say it, because I knew what he was going to say. And he goes, I like the third one better. And I said, stop, just stop, just stop.
It's not better. It's not better.
No, just stop while you think you're ahead. And my whole reasoning this whole time, you and I agreed with it. At least the fourth one knew what it was. It was schlocky shit. The third one actually thought it was saying something. And it's like, no, you're just bad. So, yeah, can't do it.
Yeah, I'll take the fourth over the third one every day of the week.
Yeah, especially with the Weatherman. You know, God, they're just some incredible special effects. I
mean, dude, in the theater, I legitimately just like laughed out my ass off when they threw what was it? Some kind of like
the Weatherman,
yeah, the Weatherman off, and the CGI was so shitty. It almost looked like the Weatherman glitched as it was falling, and I just like, God damn it, man, this is hysterical.
You know, the funny thing is, though, Christian, that movie probably turned a profit. It made over $4 million. The budget was $2 million, so it probably turned a small profit.
Good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't it crazy though how Damien Leone did like 10 million?
Terrifier 2 actually passed 11 million. That's
still in theaters.
Yeah, it was, I think, last week, and it just passed 11 million. So it went on to do 11 million on a $250,000 budget. That's not shabby at all.
It's probably going to launch the career of that broad, Lauren
Lavera. Yeah,
Lauren. Yeah, she's getting a lot of attention on Twitter, I noticed.
Oh yeah, she is.
Good for her though, man. I mean, I got to pre-order the 4K from Best Buy or whatever. I know it's coming out soon, but good for her. She did a good job.
Yeah, she was a badass. I really, really liked her. Liked her a lot.
Damien Leone's probably going to get some offers for some stuff soon. I would imagine.
You know what though? I think his style fits Terrifier, man. I like the grimy kind of grindhouse indie movie that those movies are, and I think that his aesthetic works really well with that. And I would hate to see a guy that plays in that playground so well. Not hate to see him get more. I want to see him get more opportunities, but I don't want to see this guy get, suckered into doing some big budget tentpole shit, because it just doesn't seem like it'd be him.
We'll see. I mean, it'd be nice to see him have a little bit more money to see what he could do with it. But at the same time, I get what you're saying. Like, yes, the limitations bring out the best in people sometimes. They say, what is that expression? When you squeeze a coal, you get a diamond. I mean, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's certainly going to be interesting to see what his next step is. I don't know if he's already made plans with what's
Terrifier 3.
Oh, you think he's going to jump right into that and not do something else?
Yeah. No, I've listened to a lot of interviews of his, and he's already said that he has Terrifier 3 and 4 pretty much mapped out. So yeah, I think the next thing he does is Terrifier 3. I think, hey, you kind of want to ride that wave while it's fresh, while it's hot. And clearly he's got a passion for it. I mean, I got to tell you, I think that Terrifier 2 absolutely made that man a millionaire at this point. I mean, just with merch alone, convention appearances, press, all that kind of stuff, let alone the success of the movie. Yeah, that movie, he's eating a lot better than he has at any point in his life right now. And good for him, because you can tell both of those movies were a labor of love, and it's nice to see it get some recognition from like the mainstream. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Howard Stern was talking about Terrifier 2. When you take a ham sandwich budget like that, dude, and you disrupt the movie business, that's pretty insane. So God
Terrifier
bless
2 got more press than Halloween Ends. It seemed like. I mean, that was the movie this year. That was the movie that people were talking about. Obviously, more people went and saw Halloween Ends and movies like that because they're big budget major studio releases. But you weren't hearing them talked about like Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 was everywhere. For better or worse, because it was everywhere also because, there was a bunch of people openly, very outwardly against it, which is so fucking stupid. Like, a movie exists that you don't agree with its content. I mean, we talked about this last week. Don't fucking watch it. God damn. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I wish I would have saw somebody gagging and throwing up at my theater, though. That'd have been funny.
My theater had a very audible reaction to the dude's dick getting cut off. That got a reaction out of my theater.
That was awesome. My favorite scene in that movie, even though I've only seen it the one time, is definitely the broad who gets like her head ripped off, her scalp ripped off, and he starts pouring salt on her.
Oh yeah,
that was ingenious.
I think her name's Allie. Oh, it wasn't just salt either. He poured bleach on her, dude.
Right.
He was like, I mean, oh god, that. Damien Leone talked about how, he talked about how after the first movie, the idea was, basically we shouldn't make a Terrifier 2 if we can't one up the hacksaw scene. And he said the Allie's bedroom scene was one-upping the hacksaw scene. And I'd have to agree, man, because I watched the hacksaw scene when I watched Terrifier, and I thought, holy shit, that's depraved. But then when I watched the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2, it just keeps going and gets worse and worse. And it's just like, what the fuck, man? I would say it topped it. I would.
Yeah, for sure, which makes me wonder, the fuck are they going to do for the third one?
Oh, yeah, and they're going to have a bigger budget this time too. I still think he would keep the budget under $1 million. I really do. And I think they should. $250,000, and the movie looked great. I mean, you don't need much more than that for what he's doing, at least. But yeah, I would have to assume this third one is going to remain an indie film. I mean, although it was successful and talked about a lot, I don't think a major studio is going to come near it. And if they do, Damien should stand his ground and be like, all right, if you want to be a part of this and finance it, that's fine. But you have to know this is not going to get a rating from the MPAA. Like, it's just not going to happen. Yeah.
So Terrifier 2 was not rated, right? There's no way.
Not rated.
That's interesting.
That's why it was such a big deal that as it continued to gain press and momentum, that it got expanded into over 1,000 theaters.
Right.
And I was talking to Brad from Bloody Disgusting about that, because obviously they were behind that machine as well. And Brad was like, yeah, it's unheard of. You don't get unrated movies in 1,000 plus theaters nationwide. It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen. Yeah.
The only reason
you can't market and you can't preview and market X-rated movies.
No, and most theaters in the country won't take on unrated movies. They will not take them on. They're like, nope, we're not doing that. But the reason that so many theaters wanted to take it on is because they saw it making money. And they were like, well, yeah, this is normally against our code, but if it's going to make us money, we should do it. So that was kind of like the rule of thumb. And hey, it worked for them. I mean, I saw it opening night. You saw it. We saw it the same night. First night it came out, my theater was almost sold out. I mean, it was, yeah.
Yeah, that was remarkable, man. It just, you gotta, sometimes you don't realize like how many horror fans there are until you go to your theater. And like when I go in there, I see nothing but people in horror movie t-shirts, and some guys actually had Terrifier shirts on. I'm like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw a couple of Terrifier shirts as well. And I got to say, I mean, I know other people have said this, but like, I really do think we need to like realize, recognize the moment. I genuinely do believe that we are in the midst of...
You're going to make me yawn, dude. It's contagious.
Dude, I know. My God, I keep
Long
yawning.
day for me too, dude.
Yeah, but I think we really are in the midst of like a new horror icon being born. Like, right
without question. Without question. Yeah,
20 years from now, he'll be on the level. Well, he might not be on the level, but he'll be in the conversation with people like Michael and Freddy and Jason and stuff, because they're going to make many sequels, and art is awesome.
I was going to say, if you wanted to get on that level, you got to keep making them. 1 or 2 movies ain't enough. No. You'd have to keep making them.
Well, like I said, Leone said he has 4 mapped out already, 3 and 4 mapped out, and then someone asked him.
Christ.
Yeah, someone asked him like, hey, would 4 be your last one then? Is that where the story ends? And he was like, oh, no, that's just all I have right now. Like, that doesn't mean that would be it. So, and if it continues to be successful, you could see, wouldn't it be fucking wild too, Christian, to see a writer and director make every film in the series? Like,
yeah, that'd be remarkable.
Unheard of.
I can't recall anything doing that before, especially nothing of big status where it's the same director. No, that'd be awesome. Are you kidding me?
Wes Craven with the first 4 Scream movies, and I'm sure if he was still alive, he would have done the 5th one. But if Leone does 5 Terrifier movies, I think he's got it in the back. Coscarelli, I guess technically Coscarelli's got 5 Phantasm movies, but that's kind of unheard of. To know that Coscarelli did all 5 of those movies, you don't see that ever. I mean, James Wan did the first 2 Conjuring movies and he was done. He was like, yeah, I'll serve as producer, co-writer, whatever, but I'm done behind the chair. Because these directors really don't want to get pigeonholed into that. And I get that. But someone like Leone, no, this is his baby. He created it. So he's like, yeah, no, I want to see this through. Like, this wasn't a script someone brought to him and asked him to shoot. No, this was his. So, yeah.
Speaking of James Wan, what's up with this James Wan Blumhouse thing?
It looks like James Wan's... What is James Wan's company's name?
Oh, don't ask me.
They did Malignant. Whatever his company's
his own
name.
production company, though, right? Like
Yes.
his team of people that he does to make his movies.
Yeah, it's his production house. They're basically in deep talks to merge with Blumhouse, which I don't know why people were saying it's such a big deal. I really don't see it as a big deal because I feel like Blumhouse is involved in a lot of James Wan's movies already. And I don't think it brings anything new to Blumhouse or to James Wan for that matter. Blumhouse is really known for their paranormal. That's kind of where they kicked off. And James Wan, that's his wheelhouse. So I don't really know how big of a deal that actually is. Like, I don't know. I'm like, it's cool. Like, good for them. It helps both of them, I'm sure, financially, and helps them grow. But I don't think it's really going to change the output of either entity. So
what does it bring to the table, though, in terms of intellectual properties and product? Because that's what I was wondering about. Or is this just a way for James? I figure this is something James Wan probably wants to do more so than Blum, if I had to guess, because I feel like this would just give him more resources. If you know what I mean.
I think it gives him more freedom too. Don't be surprised if the reason they're doing this is for another Malignant. If that's one of the driving forces, because from what I had been told, James Wan had an idea for a sequel to Malignant. He was actually super proud of Malignant. Like he was very proud
of it. As he should be.
Yeah, I agree. And
it's an original fucking idea. I love it.
And it was batshit bonkers awesome. And everybody on board wanted to come back, but Warner Brothers, since it pretty much just made its budget back, it definitely didn't make them any money. Because it did the day and date bullshit.
There you go.
Yep. Warner Brothers was like, we don't really have interest in this. But if James Wan has more of a stake in it with his production company, he could feasibly, if he merges with Blumhouse, then get Blumhouse's financing to do a sequel. If it is his IP. So that could definitely be a driving force, because that got missed a lot, man. That got missed a lot by a lot of people when Malignant came out, and the press leading up to and after the movie coming out, how just like genuinely proud of that movie James Wan was. Like he swung for the fucking fences, dude. Like he was known for, as I said, these paranormal ghost stories and stuff like that. And then he comes out with this like action slasher, and people are like, what the fuck? And like, I loved it. I know you loved it. I watched it when it came out, and I remember, my brother and my wife were both like,
huh?
Yeah, I'm not into that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That movie ruled. Like, yeah. So I hope that's, a driving force behind it. I don't understand. I mean, while we're on the topic, let's just talk about it. I mean, what the fuck is Blumhouse doing, man? Like, James Blum, we've talked about it. We got our issues with James Blum. Both of us.
Jason,
Jason, what the fuck?
James Blum.
That is how fried my brain is right now. We've
I
got
hear
our
ya.
issues with Jason Blum. Oh, I think it was because James won. That's why.
James Wan, yeah.
Yeah. We got our issues with him and Blumhouse as a whole, but like, I feel like they don't know a good thing when they got it. Like, they really don't. Like, they just had their Halloween trilogy make them $500 billion, and like, I am totally cool with them being done with Halloween. But I was very surprised to see Jason Blum just be like, "Yeah, that's cool. That's it. That's all we're doing." I'm like, okay, walk away from money, sure. Sounds like a good idea. We'll see how well that does for you, and then like, don't even get me started on banging the drum about the Happy Death Day movies. Both of them were very successful, and Christopher Landon had it mapped out as a trilogy, and they just never greenlit the third one.
Right.
Paranormal Activity used to be a cash cow, and they make a new movie for the first time in years, and they're like, let's just put it on Paramount Plus, not put it in theaters. I mean, like what are you doing? Like, successful IP that you have, that you're just kind of like fumbling the ball with. Like what are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think they hedge their bets and look at trajectories, and they just decide, let's just stop now and cut our losses. Like, it's very, it's like with Happy Death Day. I think that it's not so much that it was profitable, but I think it didn't reach the expectations that they probably wanted, and that's where they were just like, let's move on.
But isn't that crazy? Because if the first one had come out and the second one did like $67 million on like a $9 million budget, I think, which more than profitable. They made quite a bit of money off that. If the first one had done that, they would have immediately greenlit a sequel, like immediately. But it was because the first one made 125, and it's like, yeah, but that's lightning in a bottle. You only catch lightning in a bottle once. Like Halloween 2018, perfect example. Kills and Ends were profitable, but you're not going to get the one that just bursts onto the scene every time. And that's okay. Like, sequels, it's a rule, diminishing returns. Like, it just happens. Like, you always get diminishing returns, but as long as you keep the budget down and you're still turning a healthy profit and you have stories to tell, I don't know why you'd stop. Like, I just don't see what you have to lose. Can you imagine Christian going up to the fucking, putting $9 on, 32 black at the casino and you win $67 from it? Can you imagine well, yeah, you can as for us, you'd probably be like, okay, I'm done. Like, I made a lot of money off that. But like, as someone like Jason Blum with tens of millions of dollars behind him, hundreds of millions with Blumhouse, being like, all right, yeah, I'm cool on that. I'm done with that. It's like, but why?
Yeah, that'd be something I'd like to hear him talk about, because yeah, to me it doesn't make sense. And with Halloween, I kinda can see it, I guess. I don't know. I think the question of how successful they would be with anything theatrical at this point, without Jamie Lee, would be a big gamble, and I don't think that's a gamble that he probably wants to take anymore.
No,
so I can kind of understand Halloween, but with Paranormal Activity, didn't they say that they're making another one?
There was a press release a couple months ago that came out about it, and Jason Blum actually refuted it and was like, "That's not true." Like, I don't know where I think it was Deadline or somebody that reported it, and Jason Blum, I think Christopher Landon too, he spoke on it too, because he did Next of Kin, and he was like, "No, there's nothing in the works. Like, I don't know what the trades are talking about. There's nothing in the works." And that's when Jason Blum gave that interview that pissed a lot of people off a few months ago, when he was like, "Oh no, we're not doing any Paranormal Activities right now. Did you see the last one? That one was terrible." And then it got
idiot.
Yeah, and then it got Christopher Landon pissed off, and I think that's another reason why Happy Death Day 3 hasn't happened, because Jason Blum has talked about it many times that, like, "Oh, stay tuned. I got news on that. And then he stopped talking about it recently, and I think personally Landon and Blumhouse had a falling out. I really do. And I don't blame Christopher Landon, dude. I really don't. I mean, he shit on his Paranormal Activity movie. That was their decision to put on Paramount Plus, not his decision. Like, he's just the director. They pulled the plug on his Happy Death Day trilogy after they had pretty much already promised him the trilogy. And then Freaky. Yeah, we've already talked about that. And then Freaky. They put that day and date, and it doesn't make any money, even though I thought it was a really solid movie. I thought it was a fun movie. And it's just kind of like, that's 3 strikes and you're out, I guess. I mean, they've burned Christopher Landon multiple times now. I don't blame him if he's like, fuck this, dude, I'm done. Like, I don't want to work with you anymore. Yeah, I mean, the plan
I can't understand a studio runner like him shitting on a movie that he produced ever. Like, who does that? You always save face. You always, like, for him to disrespect Landon like that in an interview, so petty. And he's full of shit. I'm sorry. Because, Next of Kin is, I think, a damn good found footage film, and at least better than a number of those Paranormal Activity movies. So he's just full of shit, dude. The sequences where the girl and the guys are like getting drug up from the cave, and that whole deal is so crazily, like, it's so suspenseful and great. I loved it. I think Next Skin is just a pretty damn good found footage movie, and for him to just say it's terrible, for him to say that, not even necessarily to say that he doesn't like it or that he thinks it's bad, but for him to say that, the owner of Blumhouse, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, man? What's wrong with you? I can't understand it.
It's got to be his own hubris, man. I mean, when you get to the point to where he's at, it's easy for him to look at one of his movies that wasn't very successful and shit on it, because he's like, oh yeah, well, the public didn't receive this very well, so why don't I just like dump on it too? Who cares? I didn't lose anything on it. I'm still a multimillionaire. Like, I don't really care. Yeah, that movie sucked, right? Yeah, it sucked. Totally sucked. Yeah. But it's like, I couldn't imagine getting to that point, because, like, although we have to understand that Blum is probably more detached than most would really think. Like, yeah, it's his production company, but at this point they pump out so much content. He's hardly involved in any of it. I mean, he was involved in Halloween because he knew that was their golden goose, like, for sure. But, a lot of these movies, he's just like, sure, here's the financing for it. If it does well, cool. If not, no skin off my back, basically.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I know that recently it's been talked about and shopped around, the idea of Freaky Death Day, having Freaky and Happy Death Day merge. And Christopher Landon wants to do that. And I think both of those movies would work perfect in the same universe. They have a very similar tone and stuff. So, like, I don't know. I hope Blumhouse does it. It's another thing too, dude. Sinister. They had a great burgeoning, franchise on their hands, and it just stopped abruptly after 2 movies. Like, tell me a more interesting villain in recent times than Big Ghoul. Like, that's such a cool villain.
Those were good movies. I really like both of them. To be honest with you, Ethan Hawke's usually very hit and miss with me, but I did like him in those.
They had talked about merging Insidious and Sinister as well. It was going to be called Insinister.
Oh,
and that was
to me, it's getting a little silly, though. I mean,
I know, but I gotta say, again, just like Freaky and Happy Death Day, I do feel like the Insidious and the Sinister movies could work well in the same universe. Like, they really could. It's not that far fetched. They're both paranormal stories involving children mostly. So, like,
dude, remind me about Insidious. I remember the first movie. What the hell? I get Insidious. I remember Insidious, and I remember Insidious: The Last Key,
which was a fucking banger.
Yeah, I did like that one. That was the one that really revolved around Lin Shaye, right?
Yep, and the keyhole demon. I fucking love that demon.
Dude,
so cool.
I like that. And I think Insidious 2, wasn't it the husband and wife again?
Yeah, and it was the bride in black that ended up being the dude.
The dude.
Yeah, and then
crossdresser.
Yep, Insidious Chapter 3 was the the man with the breathing apparatus. The chick gets hit by the fucking car, and she's like casted up the whole movie. Yeah,
dude, it's been a while since I saw those. Like I saw them all, but I remember liking Insidious 2, and I don't remember much from 3, but I remember liking The Last Key, which I have because I love Lynn Shay. Who doesn't, quite frankly?
yeah.
She was so vital to those movies. I think as an audience member, because I remember being at the theater seeing Insidious, and people were on edge in that movie theater because there hadn't been a movie like that come out for a little while. And I remember when she shows up in the movie, like the audience was so happy to have her because she like made everybody relax a little bit, especially when you get her in the beginning of the movie when she's knocking on the door and then she laughs because she thought she hit the doorbell or something. And yeah, she was great in those movies, and she's kind of like the grandma that makes everything all right. But I loved her. I loved her in those movies so much. I would like to see more. Lynn Shay was in The Grudge movie that came out a few years ago.
And that movie sucked balls.
But she was cool in it. I remember her scenes were
cutting her fingers off, bro. She's in the kitchen cutting her fucking fingers off. Yeah.
I think the problem with The Grudge was the trailer was phenomenal. I was so excited for The Grudge, because the trailer, like they put out a fantastic trailer for the movie, but it was too much of like this crime thing, and I feel like the time jumping was a little annoying. I think we should have stayed in the house with that dad more, and it was a little all over the place. I didn't feel much of it. I didn't feel an identity from The Grudge that I was hoping to, because I was excited for The Grudge.
Yeah, they still haven't done that property right here in America. I thought I liked The Grudge from 2004 when I was a kid. I went back and watched it like 2 years ago, and I was like, wow, this is pretty bad. I mean, I'm sure there are still some people that really enjoy it, and part of that is probably nostalgia for sure, because that's what it was for me. But that's why I went back and rewatched it, and I was like, this is not very good.
I'll stick with the American Ring.
Oh, yeah, The Ring is fantastic. That's another move God, dude, they shit the bed on that one, too. The Ring 2 sucked balls, and Rings was awful. I mean, awful.
Yeah. And it's a shame that Rings is now famously the movie that caused Friday the 13th to die. I mean, if we had known that, we all would have went to the theater to see it.
Yeah. And dude, the craziest thing about Rings was it starts off really promising.
It does.
Samara coming through the screens on an airplane. That's fucking awesome. And then it's just like, what is happening?
It didn't work that well. I was going to say, it's kind of switching gears lately, but I've been listening to this podcast I really, really love. I think you'd like it, but odds are you seem to be more well-versed in the podcast world. It's called Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Are you familiar with him?
I am not.
He's an actor I think he was on Dawson's Creek for many years or something, but his podcast is sensational. He's a massive horror movie fan. So if you watch his YouTube videos, you'll get hooked right away. I know you will. You'll be like, oh my God, this is great. His studio where he records, he has the original Return of the Living Dead poster on the wall, the original Fright Night poster on the wall, and he interviews a lot of great guests, actors, horror movie actors. He had Chris Sarandon on a few weeks ago from Fright Night, obviously.
Yeah.
He had Tom Holland, the director, on, and that was amazing. And he had an amazing interview with Michael Anthony Hall for Halloween Kills last year when that came out. Check it out. It's called The Inside of You, but it's so good. And he's a big horror movie fan, so he gets great horror movie guests. The reason I found him is because he got Jensen Ackles on there to talk about Supernatural, and he also had Padalecki on there, which was great to listen to. But that's how I initially found him. I wanted to find out what Jensen was up to and all that stuff when Supernatural ended, and then his stuff kept popping up on me. I was like, oh my God, this guy's a massive horror fan. So I started watching the videos of his studio, and it's remarkable how awesome his setup is and the beautiful posters. And yeah, so he just had Tom Holland, the director from Fright Night, on. And he talked about Child's Play and all that, and such good interviews. And his setup is great. It's great to watch his show on TV. So yeah, check that out, man. It's become my favorite podcast I listen to now.
It's funny you mentioned that, because similarly, there's a Bloody Disgusting podcast called The Boo Crew that I dig the shit out of. They get whatever new movie or horror movie or TV show that's coming out, they always have like the director or the lead actor, on the show, and they do interviews. And like, I've gone down the list of listening to their stuff. They had an episode with Mike Flanagan and Kate Segal talking about Midnight Mass. And they had an episode with David Howard Thornton, who's Art the Clown, and Damien Leone talking about Terrifier 2. They've been doing it for years, and there's just so much content. And most of their episodes are like an hour, hour and a half. I mean, these are in-depth interviews. The episode with Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton is awesome. It's almost like 2 hours long, and they just talk about Terrifier, Terrifier 2, Terrifier 3, like a bunch of behind-the-scenes info. It's awesome. Like, it's...
How do we get these people? There has to be a way that doesn't involve us doing cameos and paying money. How do we do it? We've got to figure that. I mean, I love doing our shows like this. This is my favorite thing for us to do. But you know damn well we want to get these people, because we listen to these interviews all the time. And I think Gary Tunnicliffe was probably one of the best ones we ever did. But we listen to these interviews and we say to ourselves, why didn't they ask about this? Why didn't they ask about that? And it's like, no disrespect to people. And I'm not talking about the Boo Crew. I'm sure they're great. I haven't listened to them. But we've listened to interviews from podcasts and stuff, and damn well deep in your gut, you say to yourself, I could have done a better job. I would have gotten to the psyche. James Drew Courtney, be honest with me. How did you feel when you read that damn script for Halloween Ends? So just tell me, because if I was you, I'd have been like, what the fuck is this? Like, I want to talk to him and ask him. I need to email that email again. I have, by the way, but you know what I mean? It's like, we got to get these people, because I know we would kill it with interviews with these people.
Well, I mean, I don't mean to, be that guy, but we got to be honest and say, we need help from our audience. All you guys listening and watching right now, we need your help.
It's true. It really is true.
We need you guys to help get our name out there, because this isn't some rinky-dink podcast. Like, every episode is getting thousands on every platform of listens. Like, that's pretty good.
We're doing good. Yeah, we're doing good. Yeah. We're consistent.
But we want to break out of this. We want to break out of this bubble. Like we got to get out of. We love you guys as our loyal listeners every week. You guys show up every week, but like, we need. Look, let's call it like it is. We need people. We need more people wearing Uneeda merch. We need more people sharing these on their social media. We need more people tagging some of these people in this shit and going, you guys should really check this out. We need more people, when you see tweets like I saw yesterday, asking about, comment below a great horror podcast. We need more people doing that. It's not that you guys aren't doing anything wrong. We've just never really explicitly been like, hey guys, like, we need your help on the ground here. And we do. We need your help. We can't do it without you. So if you guys want us to get people like Scout and Danielle and James Jude and all these people, Damien Leone, I would fucking love to talk to Damien Leone. I would love to talk to that guy. We need your help. Like, we can't do it without you. So, I mean, get the word out. Get the word out.
And by the way, in terms of the merch, guys, I literally can't market any low. I don't make a dime from it. On Teespring, I have everything listed literally at the cost level. So it's like all the shirts are like $15. The hoodies, I have them marked down like $22. Where can you get a hoodie for $22? Like, it's all marked down so low. I don't get any money from it. So go get our merch for real. It's below us on this YouTube video. Go to the Teespring store.
We don't get any money from that. We're not telling you to do that because we're like, oh yeah, help, pay our bills. No, it's you guys, like, you got to understand. You start going to horror cons and you start seeing more people wearing Uneeda Horror Podcast stuff when they're meeting celebrities and shit. Celebrities start to see that.
What's that? What's that?
Yeah. Other people in that con see that, maybe they listen to us and they're like, oh shit, you listen to them too. You never know what that kind of stuff can do. You never know. So, I mean, that's a big reason why we as horror fans buy like horror movie t-shirts and stuff like that, right? Because we want, like, when we go out, we love it, but it's nice. everybody loves to walk around in a Halloween shirt and get someone go like, oh yeah, hell yeah, fuck, I love that shit. Like I do. Like it's like it shows me who my people are out in public. So
Right.
like, yeah, I mean, you're not supporting us financially by doing that. You're just supporting us by building our brand, because we've been doing it for a year and a half now, and ever since the first episode, we've gotten at least 1,000 listens on every episode. And like, y'all got to think about that. We've amassed over 100,000, well over 100,000 listens as a podcast. Like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So like, we want to get these people on here too. Believe me, we do. We really do. And we know you guys love these episodes where we just like sit and we bullshit for an hour and a half or whatever. And like, we love doing them too. But wouldn't y'all love to sit down and, oh shit, dude, they got this guy on there today. Oh man, what kind of question? And how Christian and I are too. We're not going to be your typical interviewers where we're just like, so tell us, what was it like on set with Jamie Lee Curtis? Like, no, that's not what we asked. We're going to ask the weird question. If we had Damien Leone on there, I'd be like, yo, Damien, tell it to me straight. You initially had that dude's dick getting cut off and getting close up right on the window. And, was he going to try to put it in someone else's mouth? That's the type of shit we would ask him. And because like, we're an unfiltered podcast. We are. At this point, I remember when we first started, Christian was like, yeah, we try to keep it as PG as possible. And a few episodes in, Christian's like, oh, fuck that. No, if you're listening to this podcast, you've listened to us in enough forums to know that that's just not who we are. So, whatever. Plus, all the best podcasts are like that. I love The Thing with Two Heads, and Chris and Sean are not PG. Like
the head with two things.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, but we need your help, guys. That's what it boils down to. We need your guys' help.
Yeah. When I look back at the show over a year now, I think about some of the best episodes we've done. Well, I say best. What I mean is the episodes I actually enjoy going back and listening to sometimes. Mm-hmm. I got to say, one of the ones that that sticks with me till this day was going back and listening to the old YouTube videos. That's one of my favorite ones.
Remember when we were counting down for that thing to get to 1,000? I mean, that episode tanked so hard, guys. And we were still new. It was one of our first episodes.
I thought it was a brilliant concept.
It really was, and it was hilarious. We were giving each other a hard time. We were laughing about it. We were having fun. Like, those episodes are so fun because like it's so organic, it's so natural, like it just rolls. Like the content is just there for you and you just react to it. Like that stuff is so fun. And Christian and I, he would send me updates like every few days, like, oh shit, we broke 900, because like that was an inside joke with us. Like, we had so much fun with this episode. It's not even gonna crack 1,000. It did, but
it did. I'm sure it's doing good now. My brother hit me up a few days after that episode. We did the episode, and he was like, "Dude, Christian, that was one of the funniest." He listened to it on Spotify, and he goes, "Christian, that was one of the funniest episodes funniest podcast I've ever heard. I loved it so much." He's like, "It was just so funny listening to all the crazy shit and it was a good one, man."
Uncle Jerry.
Yeah. All that stuff. It was so funny. Your buddy trying to fucking light himself on fire while you're trying to talk. Where you're clearly like, come on, dude, fucking stop. Like, it's like, I could tell it's your buddy, but you're clearly like, God damn it, dude. Like,
that's Dave. He's always been that type of friend, man. He's always been that. He's like the guy that you just like, you can't take him anywhere. And it's just like, little insight to that, guys. When we were 14 years old, there's an amusement park here in Ohio called Kings Island, and I used to live by it my entire life. I had a season pass every year. And one summer, me, Phil, and Dave, and Kyle, we would go to Kings Island dozens of times in the summer. And it's like what we did for fun. And we were broke because we were teenagers, and our parents were tired of giving us money all the time because we went to Kings Island all the time. So one time we were like, we're going to steal some pop, like in one of these little stores in here. And, it all went great. I put mine in my hat, and Phil put his in his pants, and we walked out, and everything was good. We got caught because Dave just decided to walk out with it in his hand, just carry it in his hand.
Oh, and
yeah, So that's Dave. Like you can't bring him anywhere. And Dave, I know he listens to the podcast sometimes, so you know I love you, Dave. But that is how it is.
It's unacceptable.
And I always felt bad too. You mentioned that specific video where like my reaction, dude. I always felt bad because going back and looking at that, I'm like, man, I really did seem like I was like domineering. You know,
well, dude, I don't know the guy, and it's just like, dude, you're trying to explain what's going on this video, and he's just lighting shit on fire.
Yeah. And maybe I was taking it a little bit too personal. You know, I'm a little too serious. Like I was like, oh yeah, dude, I'm making this movie, man. Like this is a fucking movie.
You were a kid. You were a kid.
I know.
Like I get it.
But so
behind the scenes.
No, dude, you don't even know the lengths we went to for that movie. I went to like my local police station in town, and I would ask, hey, I'm going to be filming this movie. Can we shoot on this street and outside this business, tonight at this time? And like, we got permission from the police. Like every time we wanted to do something like that, there was a scene we did where I lived in this neighborhood, and like 2 streets away, it was a subdivision. There was just this big ass field that was like half a mile long, and I was like, this would be great for a chase scene. And since it was only like 2 streets away from my house, I knew we could run a couple extension cords out to the field, and we could have those construction lamps because Dave's dad's an electrician, and he always had those. So I was like, we could run those lamps so we could get lighting on the field and shoot at night for like this chase scene. And like, we thought that would be so cool. And it was like, we had asked the cops to do that, and they agreed. And we even had a police officer like sit at the end of the road, like while we were doing it. Which was really fucking cool. Like it felt really cool to do that kind of stuff. Like we really did think we were making something like really cool. And we got a lot of good stuff, man. I really wish it would have come to fruition because we got a lot of good stuff. And, watching it now, I'd probably cringe at some of it, but there was some of it I was really proud of. We did an homage to Halloween 4 where we had the work lamps on the fucking roof in the middle of the night. And my buddy Lucas was getting chased, and and we had this whole thing where he got his like leg slashed, and he was climbing up the different level because it was I had one of those roofs, and it was a big ass house where it was like multiple levels. And so like, it was this really like cool sequence, super dangerous. Obviously nobody had any harnesses or anything, and it was fucking, and I wanted it to look like Halloween 4. So I sprayed my roof with the hose right before, so it was slick, which was dumb as fuck, but like aesthetically it was awesome. It was really cool. There's some of that stuff you're really proud of, and you look back on, you're like, man, I wish that could have seen the light of day.
Yeah. Like they say, man, the youth is wasted on the young. If your friends would have been as into it as you were, maybe you would have been able to get it finished. But like we talked about, man, it's like I had the wherewithal to know, at least when I was making my little things, whatever I do, it's got to be a few minutes, and I have to get it done in a day, because no way in hell my friends are going to want to come back and do more shit. They just wouldn't.
I was filming an 1.5-hour movie.
Like,
I was.
I know you were.
I had a shooting schedule. We had everything. I had multiple. I wrote the screenplay. Like I even wrote, I guess it's technically a screenplay and a script, because I wrote a lot of dialogue, but I also would like on the scene every day would say this, or like do this. This isn't in the screenplay or whatever. But I loved where I lived at the time, man. It really did. I mean, it was the Midwest. It really looked and felt like Haddonfield. Like it was really cool. I really liked what we were doing. Yeah, man. I still have the camera. I just have to get the right. I would have to show you the input. You could tell me what kind of cord I need to charge it again, because I think that some of that footage is still on there, and I'd love to compile it into a video and just like put it on my channel and just be like, hey guys, remember this thing like fucking 12 years ago that I was making? Yeah, well, here's some of it.
My favorite thing from that era is the video called The Behind the Scenes on the Shooting, where you're explaining on this movie you're so proud of at the time, where the good mask you wanted to use was damaged. So you had the shittiest mask ever, and you're like, this is why I'll never forget. I always want to bring this up when we're talking about Halloween, but I never do, because I'm always worried you're gonna take it the wrong way. But I figured, nah, he'd be a good sport about it. If I ever hear you complain about the mask in one of the Halloween films, I always want to say, well, Nick, remember when you were making your Halloween film and you say, whatever, my other mask is damaged, what the fuck ever, it's just a mask. Like, that's what you said. Yeah. That's what you said.
I was trying to explain it away, okay? I was trying to make myself feel better. No, it was a terrible mask. It's the one that I wore on the Uneeda dance party. I still have that fucking piece of shit. And I got that when I was like young man, like, but no, that's how big of an asshole my older brother was. The reason I had to use that day for shooting was because he literally took scissors and cut my mask like in through like down the middle, and I had to get it repaired.
Why?
And he's a fucking dick.
What did you do to him?
No, he was just a bully. Like, he was just a bully. That's just how it was. He like literally always bullied me. He got off on that.
What a jackass.
He literally used to, like, when I would get mad, and some people are probably going to laugh at this, whatever. I mean, I can find it funny now. When I would get mad to make fun of me, he'd be like, don't kill me, Michael. Don't stab me in my sleep, Michael. Like, oh, don't hurt me, Michael, when I would get mad. Just because, like, he thought that'd be a good way to, like, make fun of me because I'm a Halloween fan, I guess. Like, I would just put on the mask and just start walking around with a knife. Like, no. But I guess, to him, it was funny. So, yeah, he was just a dick. But my favorite video of that era is the like 20-second video of like me explaining a scene, I think is what it's called. And I'm wearing a hoodie that is not mine. It's Dave's ex-girlfriend's hoodie and Steelers pajama pants that had cigarette burn holes all throughout them.
Are you filming me?
Yeah. And I was trying to explain a scene. Yeah. And, yeah. But I don't know, man. I definitely was very hands-on with all that. I really was. I knew exactly what I wanted in my head, and I mean, they'd get frustrated sometimes because I'd do so many takes about it wasn't good enough. We got to do it again. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I did what I had to do. Like, nah, wasn't good enough. We got to do it again. Yeah, it's just,
yep.
I don't know.
Oh man, I had something else I was about to say, but I'm drawing a blank now. I can't remember.
What you were probably going to say is that, people are still waiting for the official announcement of the Indiegogo campaign for Uncle Jerry 3.
Dude, it's my brother's been so busy. I haven't been able to.
You definitely could raise a little bit of money for that. Absolutely. People would chip in.
My idea is to film it and then do a YouTube premiere on my channel where it'll be a triple feature. So the first one will play, then immediately after that, the second movie will play, and then the premiere on my channel for Uncle Jerry 3. So the premiere for 1 and 2 accumulatively will take like 10 minutes, and then the third movie will play. But I think that would be a cool idea. And I actually have a nice camera now. Like, I use my DSLR camera to do my videos now. Like, and I can shoot in 24 frames per second with that, so I can give it a cinematic look. Like, so I've got a good camera, and I could film something. But
it's taken a life of its own, man. People would watch it.
I think, if my brother's down, he's a dentist now, man. He's got a reputation, and I don't know if he wants to do it. He's always like, oh yeah, man, I'll do it. But like,
just give him a screen name. Don't use his real name.
Well, the cat's out of the bag. I mean, the original. His name's on the first two.
Alan Smithy, starring Alan Smithy.
No, directed by. What if I disown my own movie, my own low budget, shot on video movie, and I disown it and put it out. Alan Smithy. I've got to do it now. I have to do that now. Are you kidding me?
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it'd be cool. I mean, look, dude, it's like, if someone's going to watch an Uncle Jerry 3, they've seen the first two and they understand what you're going for. You know what I mean? Like, if someone actually watched that and they were like, well, this wasn't a great fan film. It's like, that's the point.
Dude, I don't do fan films. I do original. I'm an original.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for all you know, Uncle Jerry 3 could take on a life of like Malignant, where it's this original idea that just it could be Barbarian. It could be Terrifier too.
If we do it, I was going to give you some kind of audio thing to record for the movie. Like, maybe like you can be the John Larroquette in the beginning, like, and I'll have the screen on the front. You know, you'd have to. I'd have to get you to record like an audio thing where like the following film that you're about to see is an account of the tragedy that befell a group of two jackasses in North Louisiana. One man resurrected Jerry from the toilet. Like, you know, I gotta, but you gotta play it straight. You have to do it straight.
I could absolutely. It's easier to do it if I'm just recording something and no one's watching me. Like, yeah, I can do it. It's when people are watching me that I start to like laugh. I'm like, oh god, this is asinine.
You know what though? I do need to make it happen, even if it's a 7-minute movie, just 5 to 7 minutes. Just it's got to be. It's got. And Sydney can do like she's pretty good at doing.
Makeup effects, right?
She did do it in part 2. She gave Trey the bloody neck, and that looks great. She did great on that. So, you know, we'll see. I got my buddy Chris that was in it with Trey, who looks like Trey's brother more than me, if you ask me. Chris looks exactly like him. But he messaged me a while back, and he's like, dude, are we going to do Uncle Jerry 3? Like, we're all in town, right? Like, let's do it. So, out of the blue, he hit me up, and he wants to do it. So, I got to figure out the name, Uncle Jerry 3. I don't know what the
Rise of Jerry.
The Rise of Jerry. I thought about just calling it Uncle Jerry 3 Resurrection.
Yes. Uncle Jerry 3, Jerry's dead. Like,
Jerry. Wait up, hold on, Nick. Uncle Jerry 3, Jerry Warriors.
Oh my god.
The Jerry Child.
Uncle Jerry 3, Uncle Jerry 3, Jerry Reborn. Like there's so many great ideas. Like yeah, dude. Oh man.
I want to do it now just to be able to try to film something with my camera. It'd be fun. You know, I can shoot 24 frames and
dude, oh my god, you could bring like every character you ever made in any of your short movies throughout your time and call it Uncle Jerry 3 No Way Home. And it could be a multiverse movie where they all come in.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow. We got some good ideas. Oh, by the way, I did want to say something that was prevalent. I think, depending on when I can leave work tomorrow, because we're going to get absolutely, just butt pounded tomorrow.
Annihilated.
Yeah, we're going to be busy as hell all day. So if I can leave work early enough, one of my local theaters is showing Glass Onion, Knives Out, the second Knives Out movie. It's getting a limited release this week only, and I got a local theater that's playing it, and I love Knives Out, so I might go see that tomorrow. Because it doesn't come out on Netflix till December 23rd, so it's getting like a month early. Like I think like 700 theaters are getting like a few showings of it, and I saw it on there for tomorrow, and I was like, oh shit, I might go see that. Did you see Knives Out? I
did see Knives Out. I thought it was good. Yeah, I thought it was good. That had a bunch of people in it. That was the Ryan Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Yeah, I liked it.
Daniel Craig, Jamie Lee Curtis, is that Chris Evans? Yeah, there was a lot of people in that movie.
Tony Collette was in there.
Tony Collette.
So I finished that show Mindhunter today, and it pisses me off that I'm stuck at the end of season 2 with nothing new.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of my favorite things I've ever seen, quite frankly.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's great. And I saw people in the comments on the last episode talking about it and how they were pissed that it didn't get a 3rd season as well. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's bullshit. And I got to finish Bly Manor, but I can easily tell you that I like it better than Hill House. Not that I disliked Hill House. I thought it was good,
but it doesn't touch Midnight Mass still, right? Like Midnight Mass.
No, that was one of the best. That was one of the best things. I don't think I ever want to rewatch Midnight Mass because I'll just the joy of watching that for the first time, knowing I was watching something special. I don't want to go back and revisit it, at least not for a long time. But Bly Manor, I'm digging more than Hill House. I really like the lead, the girl from You.
Victoria Pedretti.
She's so pretty. I love her as a blonde. I love the 80s aesthetic. So I got to finish that. But I got back on Mindhunter, and I was like, oh, my God. So
I'm stoked for You season 4 in March. I love You. I think that show is so good. I am one of the OGs, I can say, that was watching it when it first dropped on Netflix, season 1, before it blew up and everyone
Me
was
too.
talking about it. Yeah, and it feels good. Feels good to not be on, not have jumped on a bandwagon. Which, if you have, no shame. But it's always nice when you didn't. You're like, yeah, I knew this was good before you did. Like, yeah. So, and I loved season 3. Season 3 was so wicked and depraved. Like, oh my god, yeah,
so good. Yeah, Sydney decided to watch that because she knew who the actor was that starred in it, and I remember right when it came out, she goes, "Hey, I want to watch the show. Let's try it." So we did. I remember, and it took me a little bit personally to get going, but once I got into it, I was like, "Oh, let's finish it. Let's keep going," and I liked it a lot. So I'm down for another season. Good show. It's just a shame that Mindhunter got screwed over. I mean, I really hope that people just keep going back and watching it so they can look at some kind of number, because Netflix claimed it's too expensive of a show to produce and blah blah blah. But
that's Netflix's way of saying we're stupid as fuck with our money. We give Stranger Things $30 million an episode. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, like, idiots. But they make stuff called $18.99. Who the fuck cares about that? Like, really?
No. And Stranger Things is fantastic, but when you watch an episode of Stranger Things, especially season 4, that is like big budget Hollywood movie for every episode. Like, the production design, the production value, it's insane how much money goes into that. And it shows on screen, but man, like that's where season 4 cost them over $300 million to make. Over $300 million.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Absolutely.
How do you even get that back? Like, how do you get that back? There's no way you get that back just off of subscriptions alone. There's no way.
Beats the hell out of me.
Tax write-offs, advertisements, sponsorships. I'm sure that all plays a role in it, but my God, like,
and then no physical media for it. Like, what's up with that, man?
Well, the first 2 seasons got physical releases, if I'm not mistaken, because I have the VHS release.
I do
one
too.
that looks like,
But they stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Why'd they stop?
Mike Flanagan was on Twitter a couple weeks ago because someone was badgering him about Midnight Mass getting physical release, and he replied to their tweet and was like, "I've asked Netflix dozens of times. They refuse to do it." Like,
that's their way of getting exclusivity.
Yeah.
That's why Paramount will always be my favorite company. They put everything on physical. Everything.
Yeah.
Screw Netflix, dude. It's stupid. That's fine, dude. Get in the homebrew market. You have no choice.
Yeah. I know people. I saw it. I saw it at the con we went to. I saw at Scarefest at one of the stands where they were selling movies and stuff. There was it was a bunch of bootlegged ones, and they had Midnight Mass. Remember, I pointed out, I was like, "Oh shit, Midnight Mass."
Yeah,
probably how you got to do it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited to see what Flanagan. Oh, he actually has a new show on there. I got to start watching soon too.
Yeah, the Midnight Club.
Midnight Club.
It's okay. It's okay. He doesn't make anything bad. I haven't finished it, so I'm sure it'll get better, because Midnight Mass, although I think Midnight Mass for me peaked at episode 5, the episode where Riley takes her out in the boat and they have that talk, and then that shit happens to Riley. That was the peak of Midnight Mass for me. Because that scene was what the fuck? That entire episode, they're only talking about death and what happens after you die, and life, and that is one of the deepest episodes of anything I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah, but when
it was insane,
when they're all in church at midnight and the door opens and you see the vampire standing there and start truly I was almost standing up watching it. I was like, what the fuck is about to happen?
And she's also really smart too. Spoilers if you guys haven't seen it. This is your spoiler tag. When the vampire gets her, she's smart enough to slice through its wings as it's sucking her blood, because she basically is accepting her fate, but she's saying, you're not going to do this to anybody else. That was so fucking smart.
Because it couldn't fly away and get to the other continent.
Yep. It was just phenomenal. It was some of the best television I've ever seen. It was Midnight Mass, Stranger Things season 4, like those are some of the peaks for me of just like, holy fuck, like
Yeah.
that's how you justify not making a movie. Like, because you see seasons of television all the time where it's like, you did not need 10 episodes for this. You just didn't.
No. And they're stretching and there's BS episodes.
Those types of shows, they need that much time and to breathe. And I was just, and even then, fucking Stranger Things final episode was like 2.5 hours long. It was a fucking movie in and of itself, but it was awesome from start to finish. That episode, it didn't feel like filler at all. There was so much going on. It was just like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we really are in a good age right now. We have been spoiled the last few years with the shit we've gotten. I mean, just. And everybody keeps going, how do they improve in 2023? I genuinely don't
Keep
know.
Doing the same stuff, dude. Just let creative minds create. You know?
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, why mess with a good thing? If it's working, keep letting it work. I'll tell you what's not working though. Chucky. Nope.
No. I'll take your word on that, man.
Not working. Not working for me, buddy. It's yeah, even Alexis, a very loyal listener of the podcast, she's having a hard time getting into it. And she loves Seed of Chucky, guys. So she can take the weird, but this is different than weird. It's just like, I don't know, man. Part of me will still, and you've already shit on him on this podcast, so fuck it. We've already opened the door. Part of me will never forgive Don Mancini for the fucking temper tantrum he threw over the remake. I mean, get off your high horse, dude. The last thing you had done, 2 of the last 3 movies you had made were Seed and Cult. All right? Like, people wanted a new direction. Like, they just did.
Clearly.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Get over it, man. You know? But this has been fun, man. It's been fun just chilling out and talking about the pod and movies and TV show, Uncle Jerry. So I guess this is it for now, guys. We'll be back after the holiday.
If you can't tell, Christian and I are both, pretty tired.
Yeah.
Not that we don't want to be here, believe me. I love doing this shit. Absolutely. But this was just kind of one of those shoot from the hip episodes. Yeah. And they're fun. I mean, they're natural. We could keep these going for hours. There's always stuff to talk about, but at the same time, I feel like the sweet spot has always been an hour and a half. Unless we have a guest on. When we have a guest on, usually 2 hours is what we do. But these kind of free-form episodes, hour and a half is a sweet spot.
It is. But this was fun, man. I needed this. It was a nice way to cap off the night. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I'm sure we'll cook up some fun stuff in December. Maybe talk a little Christmas horror.
Oh, for sure.
We
did a special last year on my channel with Piz where we talked about some Christmas horror and that did really well. So maybe we'll try to get a little panel going on an episode this winter and talk some Christmas horror.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, we love you. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Uneeda Horror Podcast, and we'll see you on the next journey. Have a great night.
This has been a production of the Uneeda Horror Podcast. You need it, we got it. Thank you for listening.